Hey YouTube, Country Boy Prepper. Today I want to do a video with my dad. This is Chris, my dad, and recently we made a family trip out to the Grand Canyon. The whole family, my parents, my kids, all my brothers and sisters, all their kids and spouses, and we hiked the Grand Canyon rim to rim. And I've got a bunch of videos I'm going to be doing about that trip, but today I just want to do a special video and explain the significance of that trip to our family and why we went there. We didn't just go there for a vacation. It had a special sentimental reasons involved, and I wanted my dad to tell that story and explain that. And anyway, okay. It starts way back before I was even born. Maybe y'all enjoy it. If nothing else, it's something that's going to be special for our family, and we wanted to document it, if nothing else, for that reason. But go ahead, Dad.
Well, son, as you know, my family, when I was growing up, and me and my sisters got to the age that we were going to graduate from high school, my parents decided that they wanted to have a special trip, a senior trip with each of us, and since I was the oldest child. When I was between my junior and senior year in high school, the summer of 1975, we made a road trip out west, and we went a lot of places. The most significant place that we went on the whole trip, though, was the Grand Canyon. And my dad had told me before we ever left on this trip that when we got to the Grand Canyon, he wanted to do a rim-to-rim hike through the Grand Canyon. And of course, in 1975, there was no internet, so getting information about what was required as far as camping permits, whatever, was hard to come by. He had ordered information and gotten some information through the mail, snail mail, but apparently he didn't realize that you had to apply for a camping permit if you wanted to camp somewhere on the trail going rim to rim to the canyon. And we got all the way to the Grand Canyon. He went up and asked the park rangers for a camping permit, and they explained to him that he had to do the application for that 4 months in advance. And he asked them if there was any way possible they could make an exception, let us go, and they said no, there's limited campsites, and there wasn't any available. So he was very disappointed about that, and the only thing that we could do was a day hike down the Bright Angel Trail, and actually we did that the following day. We went all the way out to Tonto Plateau Point, which I think you have video of us walking out on our trip on that. And so we got up early that morning. We hiked all the way out to Tonto Plateau Point and then back out in one day, which even without a pack was quite a hike. We left before the sun was up. It was daylight, and we got back to the trailhead. It was, the sun had set, so it was a long day. And I was 17 at the time, and I thought that it was terribly hard to do. I was in good shape too. I mean, back then I cut grass. I was in real good shape. But it was a memorable hike with my dad and my youngest sister, Pam. Unfortunately, my other sister wasn't able to hike with us. She stayed with Mom at the camper while we did the day hike. But after we got back out off of that trip, Dad and I, in talking about it, we talked about that, if we ever got a chance, we were going to make a trip back out to the Grand Canyon and do that rim-to-rim hike. And he wanted to do it, I wanted to do it, and we talked about it off and on a lot. But unfortunately, a year later, I graduated from high school. I had a scholarship at the local junior college, and so I went directly on into, started junior college, met your mom, Regina, at junior college, and we fell in love and we got married. And 2 weeks after we got married, we moved to Troy, where I finished up my degree. So then after I graduated from college, I went right on into, we decided we wanted to start a family. And you're the result of that. You were our first son, and you know, it's kind of like the song "Cats in the Cradle," you know, where in that song, you know, you say, "Well, Dad, one day we'll do it. One day we'll do it." He's saying, "One day we'll do it. One day we'll." One day never came, and so 11 years later, my parents decided they wanted to make another trip out to the Grand Canyon for their 30th wedding anniversary. And for us, that was the first opportunity that came along that you know, anybody could go back to the Grand Canyon. And so one weekend we were at home and visiting. It was probably about 3 or 4 months before they were to leave on this trip, and we were talking about it. And I asked Dad. I said, "Dad, you want me to take vacation and get a plane ticket, and I could meet you guys out at the Grand Canyon, and we could do that hike rim to rim if you want to." He looked at me. He said, "Son, are you on drugs?" I was like, "No. What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, this is our 30th wedding anniversary. I don't want you on this trip." So I said, "Well, okay." And so then the conversation went to something like, "So Dad, why don't you and Mom do the hike? Take me on a hike with the rim. I know you would, but why don't you and Mom do it? Kind of figure out what it's like, and then we can do it together." And he said, "No, your mom's legs probably wouldn't hold up for that hike. It would be too strenuous for her." And he said, "But I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking that maybe we'll just take an air tour flight through the canyon." And about that time, Mom walks through the room and she says, "Oh no, we're not. That would be too dangerous." And Dad looked at her. He said, "Well, what do you mean it'd be too dangerous? That'd be a good way for us to see the canyon. Probably be better than hiking through the canyon." He said, "What, you wouldn't do it with me?" She said, "Heck no, I wouldn't do it with you." And he said, "Well, that's okay. I'll just do it without you. You don't have to go on that air tour flight." And she said, "Oh no, you won't, because sure as you do, that plane would go down and I'd be left without you." Little did we know that was an ominous statement she made that day, because they ended up going, and they arrived at the Grand Canyon. I'm not sure exactly when they arrived, but their anniversary was on June the 16th in 1986. And 2 days later, they did end up taking the air tour flight of the canyon. And it was an hour-long tour of the canyon, and at the end of the flight, the plane was ascending, coming up out of the canyon. There was a helicopter that collided with the plane that they were on, and of course they were in it, and they perished that day. 25 people died, 20 on the plane, the two pilots, or pilot, co-pilot, and 18 passengers, and then pilot and 4 passengers on the helicopter perished that day. And I'm not going to, for this, I'm not going to go into detail of all the things that went on during that time, but it was, needless to say, 1986 was probably the hardest year of my life. I think it was about January of 2014, about a year and a half ago now. One Sunday afternoon after church, we went to our house and ate. And after we got through eating, we were sitting around talking in the living room. I think I got to talking about this this trip that Dad made with us, where we didn't get to hike through the canyon, and I told you that day, I said, you know, one day I want to do that with you, or if possible, with all of my sons, and because it's like an itch that hadn't been scratched yet, and it's like something I need to do because it's unfinished business in my life. You know, my dad and I didn't get to do it, but I'm still here, and I've got my children, so I wanted to do that, and I'll never forget. You looked at me and you said, "Dad, how old are you?" And I looked at you. I said, "Well, I'm 55, be 56 in May. What's it to you? Why are you asking?" And you said, "Well, Dad, do you really think that you can make this this hike?" And I was like, I looked at you and I said, "I'm in better shape than you are." And I was really at the time. I still am.
Still are.
I'm in a lot better shape than you. But you know, he said, "Well, you know, Dad, you're not getting any younger." What are you trying to say, son? You know, come on. And you said, well, Dad, just like you and your dad, if you don't plan it, if you don't put it on the calendar and plan it and prepare and decide you're going to do it, it can be put off forever, and it'll never happen. Just like it never happened with me and my dad. And so that was I want to thank you today for you know, for nudging me on that, because I needed to be nudged. It was a major undertaking for us to decide to do it and to plan it and to get it done. And had you not nudged me that day, we probably still wouldn't have done it at this point. But as a consequence, after that day was over, we made a covenant together that we were going to try to start planning and make it happen. And we started buying hiking equipment and making our plans to make this happen. And there was a lot of planning went into it, as you know. I mean, what did we do? 2 different hikes, I think, over the following year in preparation. We probably should have done more in hindsight.
Nothing can really prepare you for the Grand Canyon. But it helped. It showed us where we needed to. There is
no. It would be kind of like trying to train for a marathon, because
train to go to the moon.
You know, you couldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. But you know, I mean, for a day and a half on our first day, for a day and a half, we hiked downhill, and I don't mean just downhill. I mean about a 30-degree angle the first day. Probably
in the snow and mud.
In the snow and the mud.
The rain.
Well, that was the other thing. Who would have dreamed that on May the 15th there would be
4 inches of snow.
4 inches of snow and 28 degrees when we started this hike through the canyon. And you know, it's just awesome. I can't tell you how much it meant to me. I mean, I don't know if it meant as much to anybody else on the trip as it did to me.
I just say we didn't get to go out to Point Sublime. There's an overlook. Tell them about that.
Yeah, probably about May of 2014.
We planned to do this video at Point Sublime, and we weren't able to do that, so now we're doing it here.
Yeah, I had planned for us to go there, but let me tell you how I found out about it. I mean, it's been 29 years since the crash, and the whole time I've been out to the Grand Canyon. Let's see, this was I think my 4th time out there since 1986. But the whole time that we were on this, going through this period of time, I more than once I've wanted to try to go to a place where I could physically see the place in the canyon where the plane ended up crashing to the ground. And you might think that that's weird, or I don't know what the word would be, but
natural.
But I did. I wanted to be able to go to do that sometime. And so what happened was I went on a business trip to South Carolina with my boss and several of my peers at work, and we were in like a 15-passenger van traveling to South Carolina. She turns around and maybe 5 minutes later turns back around and holding up her iPad, she says, "Chris, you ever seen this website?" And she I think she Googled while we were riding down the road, found this website. It's lostflights.com or something like that. But basically, this website was just a treasure trove find for me in terms of information about what happened in that crash. And the guy that did this website actually did a post-crash investigation and actually did a backcountry hike down to the crash site itself. And this whole website's got like 15 pages of a series of pictures on each page discussing his findings and how he got down to this place. And so as a part of that, finding that website, I discovered that there's a place off of the North Rim called Point Sublime where you can see the crash site. In fact, he has a picture of that crash of that view from Point Sublime, with a little circle where the crash site is. So after finding that, I was like, I've got to go out to Point Sublime. I want to go there, and I want to take whoever's with us out to that point. Well, it turns out that everybody in my immediate family, all of my children and all of their children, except for Aaron's wife and two daughters, got to go on this trip. There were 17 of us on the road trip out there and back, and
Plus Marcus met us.
Marcus and his family drove down from Colorado Springs and met us there. And my youngest biological daughter, Rebecca, that got married last fall, her husband and mother and father flew into Phoenix, rented a car, and met us up there. So when we got to the North Rim, there were 24 of us all together, which was just awesome. I mean, when you and I started talking about it, I was going to be happy if just you and I got to do it, but really wanted all my sons to do it for sure. But it ended up that there were 11 of us on the hike, which is the max that you can have in a large group. There was myself, my 4 sons, my 2 son-in-laws, and my 3 oldest grandchildren, grandson and 2 granddaughters, and son-in-law's mother that had come with him. And it was incredible. It was, it was just awesome to have all those people on that trip to enjoy what we did together. Now, what we did together was a test of endurance beyond anything I ever imagined it would be. It's arguably the hardest thing physically I've ever done in my life. I mean, it was I mean, I made it fine, but it was hard. It was not easy, and 2 of the hikers had some pretty serious problems along the way. We ended up carrying the packs for them, and we had a lot of trials and tribulations as we went through this thing, but it was a lot of fun. And I hope that as people watch the videos, you'll see that we had a lot of fun.
So we did, and a lot of people do it straight through non-stop without even camping. They do like a marathon.
Oh yeah,
there were people that were just running with nothing but water, and they were just running a marathon through the canyon. We actually did 4 days and 3 nights in the canyon. Camped out 3 nights and took our time and only did.
Well, actually we only hiked 3 days because it was a half day on the first day, and a half day on the last day.
Yeah.
So it was really just three
days.
But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that there's 3 campgrounds on this main trail. We went down the North Cahab Trail, took us to the river, and then from the river we took the Bright Angel Trail out. And yeah, I mean because of the physical demands of hiking through the canyon, we wouldn't have made it doing it any other way. Well, we might have, but it would have been a whole lot harder. I think we did it the best way.
Yeah.
But awesome experience, and it's like a finished chapter in my life that finally is finished.
No, we got to go back and go out to Point Sublime.
Well, yeah. I'm probably going to do that one day.
And if we do that, we might as well hike.
But
we said it's finished.
Apparently the weather on the North Rim is somewhat unpredictable, which I didn't really anticipate that.
Yeah, we had snow and rain and mud and cold the first day coming in, and then the last day, the 2 days in the middle were beautiful, just gorgeous.
Yep.
And then the last day coming out, it started raining and turned cold again.
Yep. Well, I mean, that was the weird part too. I mean, after starting out at 28 degrees and
it was a huge
whiteout
swing.
Conditions of snow,
and you couldn't see 300 yards. We couldn't even see the canyon.
The second day, and you'll see this on the videos. The second day, we do this little half-mile side hike over to Ribbon Falls.
Yep.
80 degrees.
Yep.
24 hours later, it's 80 degrees. Of course, we're, what, 4,000 feet lower in elevation?
Yeah.
But still.
It's pretty wild.
The North Rim is about 8,000 feet elevation, and the South Rim is about 7. And so, through this hike, we did an elevation change of 13,000 feet. 7 down and 6 back up on the other side. Absolutely incredible. It's an incredible hike that, you know, if you ever get a chance to make this hike, it's worth doing. You need to be well prepared if you plan on hiking in that canyon, because I can see where you could easily get into bad trouble.
We were in some pretty sketchy situations too with a couple of our people that struggled.
Yep.
But we managed to pull together and get through it. But
yes, we did.
we're out here on Lake Martin today shooting this video, and like I said, we wanted to do it out at Point Sublime overlooking the crash site, but this place here has a lot of significance to our family as well. My dad grew up camping every summer. About a month out of the summer, him and his parents and sisters would come out here and they'd camp on Wind Creek, spend a month
Back
vacation.
in those days, it was Wind Creek Park. They turned it into Wind Creek State Park now, but it's about 10 minutes by water from here.
They would come back up into this slough here called El Cahatchee, and this is where they would do a lot of their water skiing and fishing and stuff. It's a real good place for that. And then this place right here, you may not be able to see it. I'll probably pan up and show you, but there's a house up here that I actually grew up in.
I built.
Yeah, my parents built this house here, and I grew up in this house, living out here, right here on the lake. And so this is a real special place for our family as well. A lot of memories, and reminds us of my grandparents.
Had a lot of good times here.
Oh yeah.
Mom and Dad love to come up in this part of the lake and fish. You know, because it's perfect for fishing or skiing or anything, because it's just so calm up in here.
Yep.
It's like protected by
terrain.
The terrain, yeah. Not a lot of wind.
Well, guys, I appreciate you watching this video. If you stuck around this far, I really appreciate it. And I just wanted to make this and share with y'all the significance of our trip to the Grand Canyon. I wanted my dad to explain it and tell the story. And this obviously means a lot to us and our family. And if nothing else, it's something special for us that we wanted to document and have for our my kids and my grandkids one day. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching, and if you don't mind, hit that like button before you go, and y'all have a great day.